everyone, and welcome to the Book Refuge. My name is Jen, and welcome to a reading blog for a single book. I haven't done one of those in a really long time, but I really have been wanting to read this book, Dreaming of You by Lisa Kleypas. Lisa Kleypas is in my top 3 historical romance authors, and I still have a ton of her books I haven't read because each one guts me and is amazing and is everything that I could ever want. So I take my time with them. And this one has been hyped so highly to me, I didn't want to rush to it. But this weekend, I decided it was the time to read it. And mostly today. I read most of this today. So you're going to notice these clothes. And you'll see this at the end of the video as well. But I'm filming my intro for this. I have already read it. And I won't say anything else. But I just wanted to do a little intro here and tell you what this is. This book came out in 1994. It is one of her, newer novels she did. She hadn't written too many yet when this one came out. And it's amazing. It's great. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. I couldn't even wait any longer. But if you want to check out some of my thoughts along the way, keep watching. There are spoilers ahead because a lot of you have probably already read it and you want to see my reactions as we go. So let's do it. Hello, so this is randomly that I'm starting this vlog this way. I'm a hot mess, but I am starting probably the most hyped historical romance I've ever am going to partake currently at this point. I can't think of another one that is more hyped than this. I have read other very well loved, very well hyped historical romances, and I didn't vlog it. I really only talked about them in wrap-ups or in recommendation videos. And so for this one, because it's so special, and I'm planning to read a lot of historical romance this weekend and in the next little bit, I just thought I would start a reading vlog of it because I know people love talking about this book. So that book is Dreaming of You, which I have heard so much about. I've listened to podcasts about it. But it's been a little while because I knew that not only have you guys suggested this to me, not only have I seen it on like all the lists of like the best historical romances that there are, I'm fully in love with Lisa Kleypas, and I've never read a book of hers that I have disliked. If not, all of her books are like in the top half of historical romances I've read. But this one is talked about probably more than any other. This came out in 1994, and it has Sarah Fielding and Derek Craven. And now Derek Craven is like the top romance heroes ever. And so I just wanted to vlog it. So I am just getting started. I only got like 8 pages in, and then I was like, stop, record, because I want to check in on my feelings with it. Just because. So if you don't know, the Kleypas books that I have read previously are, I've read the Wallflowers, Hathaways, and the Ravenels. Those are all of the Kleypas books that I've read. So I haven't read any of the really older ones or the American ones that she has. I haven't read any of those. I've just read the 3 those 3 series like all go together. So first thing that I'm noticing, first thing I'll mention, we have, this is going to be full spoilers. Obviously, I'm going to talk about the things that happen. This book is the same age as me, so if you've never heard of it or don't know, sorry about that. I know this is about a writer. Sarah Fielding is a writer, and she writes about kind of like the darker sides of society, and she's very supportive of working women's rights, and she wants them to be taken care of, and those are the things that I know about her. And so Derek Craven, he owns a gambling den. That's what I know of him. And this first scene of the book is he's getting beaten up and about to be murdered when Sarah comes across this, and she carries a gun in her purse because the research that she does is in shady places, and so she always carries her pistol with her. Smart woman, She's armed at all time. I believe in the Second Amendment, even though that isn't, the Second Amendment isn't a thing in England. But anyway, and so she actually shoots someone to save Derek, and they've just met, and she finds out that he's Derek Craven. So the one thing that I'll mention already is that we believe that the men who are beating him up, Derek thinks that it might be Ivo Jenner's men. And so Ivo Jenner is his rival, okay? So if you probably already know this is new information to me. Ivo Jenner is Evie's father, who marries Sebastian St. Vincent, and Ivo Jenner dies in that book. So I know that Ivo Jenner is not a great person. That is what I know of him. But he also really loves his daughter Evie. So I'm assuming that he can't be fully evil, is what I know anyway. But also, I don't know any more than this. But I'm so nervous to read this book, guys. It is so hyped for me. Every romance podcast I've ever listened to, they all rave about this book. I have never been let down by Fated Mates, by the way, which is where I first heard about this book. So again, if you don't know this about me, I usually like to know full spoilers for things when I'm choosing books. But then because I buy so many books, I read so many books, so many plots are the same or different or whatever, I don't remember those spoilers when I come to read a book. So that's why I'm totally fine with people completely spoiling things for me, because I always forget them when I'm holding the book in my hand. So all I know, there are a few scenes that I remember in my head because I know that they're significant. But like when I read Lord of Scoundrels at the beginning of the month, I didn't remember the big thing that happens in that book. And that's what that entire podcast like talks about. So like I forget things really easily. But that's where we're at right now. I'm just getting started. I'm so excited to be reading this. I just want to soak it all in. Because you only get to read a book for the first time once. And I've loved every Lisa Kleypas I've read. I have almost all of her books. But again, I've only read those 3 series of hers. And so now I'm going back to read like the trilogies and the duologies and the standalone books. And I just want to love every single one of them. And I don't want to rush. But today's the day. Today and tomorrow. I have something I have to go to in a couple hours, so I probably won't finish this. Wow, actually. Yeah, in a couple hours from now. But this is happening. So I'll check back in with you soon. And we'll see. We shall see. Hi everybody. So checking back in here. I'm now at the 100-page mark. So I'm like about almost a third of the way through the book. And it's going really good. There's just something about this one. I don't know if it's because it's her older style or also maybe just because of the context of the story. But it feels a lot darker and like weightier than a lot of the other Kleypas that I've read. And I really like that. I mean, it's not like she shies away from darker concepts. I mean, quite a few of the other ones have it. It's just, I think that there's an aspect of like family and like girl gang and like stuff like that in a lot of the other series that I've read. And we're dealing with 2 characters that are mostly like solitary. Like Derek has Lily and Wolverton that are his friends, but he keeps everybody really on the edge of everything. You know, he's a very like, it's me taking on the world. No one's gonna do anything for me but me. And then Sarah, who is removed currently like away from where her home and her potential fiance are, and she's really like diving down into the seedier parts of London. But obviously you get the feeling that she feels like an outsider too, or she wouldn't be doing this. She wouldn't be taking on these topics that she is if she didn't also feel like an outsider. That's the vibe I get anyway. And yeah, I don't know. It's so good. So what's happened since the last time? I mean, I checked in when I was only on like the first 10 pages of the book, but after saving Craven from death, basically, she has gotten him to agree to let her scout out his club, and as long as she doesn't like interact with any of the patrons, she's allowed to talk with the sex workers there and his staff and figure out how the casino works, and just really able to, you know, interact with the people. And they all love her. They love how much respect that she has for everyone who's working there. She just wants to know about their lives. She's never critiquing them or telling them to change. And though it feels a little bit like, you know, maybe they're like specimens under her microscope, she's also just this really like caring person, and she's very patient with everyone. And like Derek is getting more increasingly agitated because he's very attracted to her. A lot of his POVs is him thinking about that, like, he is dirty and unclean, but that he could be like cleaned by being with her. And, you know, so he wants her to go away because she's giving him the feels. She's giving him the feels. And he's also getting encouragement from his friends that he needs a woman in his life and to not just like mindlessly be hooking up with people. And in the book, they're really saying that we're not saying you need a wife, but you should have a girlfriend. You should have a mistress. In this context, we're talking about like a girlfriend, because they're like, get yourself someone who's going to be with you for a while. And, you know, obviously they're putting that like seed in his head, but Sarah's never going to be that. Like, she has someone that she is kind of promised to back at home. And so, but she's really attracted to him. And so I just had this scene, because we're just about to have the ball. Like, she's in the carriage, like on the way to the ball, which Derek has forbidden her to go from, but his friends and his like manager have gotten her a dress and a mask, because of course it's a masquerade, and she's gonna sneak into the ball and just wow him. And it's really clear that Lily, his friend is gonna try to like awaken his feelings. And I'm excited about it because I love balls and I love masquerades. And oh, also, like, Sarah asked him to kiss her because she doesn't have any like experience to write into her books. And Derek says, he's like, I want to do more than kiss you. I want to sleep with you. And she's like, I'm not asking you to sleep with me. I'm just asking you to kiss me. And he says, one kiss between us would be a mistake. And then he walks away. And that's when she decides she needs to go to the ball. So it's really clear that she wants to go to the ball all dressed out and beautiful and just shock him, because he calls her Mouse. She wears glasses and a cap and these really demure dresses, which is like smart for her, because the places that she's at, it's not like she should go around dressing super fancy. That wouldn't help her. So I'm super excited to get to this ball part. I always reach a point in, I mean, really in any book, but specifically romances for me, is like, it usually takes me a long time, not a long time, because you know how fast I read, but the first like 30 to 50% of a book, even if I'm enjoying it, it's easier to like put the book down and stop and do something. And then you reach the point of no return where you just have to keep going. And I'm like already at that place. And that's something that happens with Lisa Kleypas with me more than anything else, is that it will physically pain me to put the book down. So we'll see how many check-ins that I end up doing for this. But I know just from what I've heard before, right? Like, remember, I don't remember everything that happens, even though I've seen countless reviews of this book. I only know about like one specific thing that happens, but I don't know how it happens or all the other stuff. So I'm pretty excited, and I'm really excited for this ball to happen. So I'm going to go back to reading now, and we'll check in again soon. Okay, so I'm going to be getting my lunch ready, and I'll give you an update while I do this. So, hello, here's my kitchen. So I'm on page 226 right now. I only have, I'm like 2/3 of the way in, and so much stuff has happened since I last checked it. So there was the assembly where Sarah disguises herself as Matilda, which is the character that she wrote a novel about, but everyone thinks is really a real person. And so she kind of uses that persona to infiltrate this assembly that she's not supposed to go to. And she really kind of just like is the toast of the night. All these men are crowding around her. She is blowing kisses on their dice, and they're all just enamored with her. And of course, Derek sees her across the room. He is into her as well, and he decides to make a conquest of this beautiful creature who has just shown up in his club. Just having some corn on blue that I bought from the deli, by the way. It's nothing super special. And one thing leads to another. She finally gets her kiss from him that she wanted, and it just escalates so quickly, and they end up in a back room, hot and heavy. It's about to go down. Sarah's freaking out a little bit, but she's into it. Like, she's freaking into it, okay? And then he is thinking in his head, I must be so into this chick because she's so much like Sarah. Oh, wait a second. This is Sarah. And he, you know, he stops himself from what he's doing. He looks at her and he's like, why did you do this? Because she was kind of punishing him for not kissing her in the morning. And he's like, you don't understand. The reason why I didn't kiss you is because I want to do this to you. You know, he's laying on top of her on a couch and he's just like, all of this is for you. My desire right now, the feelings that I have, it's for you. And I'm trying to respect you or not ruin you. And she's like, but I want you to. And he's like, no. So I'm not going to be angry at you, but you're going to leave and you're not going to come back again. And then a whole bunch of stuff goes down. We run into Ivo Jenner, which was really fun to get to see him. And he ends up having turned in Craven's casino, his club, so it's getting raided. And she ends up on the streets with Ivo Jenner. He ends up getting separated from her, and she's about to get attacked. And then Derek rescues her, and he again makes her leave. So that is like literally the perfect first half of the book, is him telling her, you need to go back home. You need to marry this, you know, foolish sop. He doesn't say that. This guy that you're supposed to marry, and I'm never going to see you again, and I'm going to do everything I can to forget you. And that's the halfway point of the book. Wow. So many feelings about it. Again, I knew about this time gap where they wouldn't be with each other. That's something I did know about. But still, when you're in the midst of it and you're feeling it, it hurts so much because you don't want them to be separated. And like the sexual tension is bananas, and he's just awakening things in her and she's awakening feelings in him, and you just want these kids to work it out. So she goes back home and immediately throws herself into her relationship there, where she's been in this quasi-courting relationship with this guy, Perry, who's a mama's boy and a Puritan and just kind of like a stuck-up prude. And she kind of like pushes him into finally proposing to her. And then she gets a visit from Tabitha. And now this is the other part that I'd heard about, and is one of the things that is super controversial about this book, because Derek sleeps with one of the whores who looks like Sarah, and he makes love to this working girl, and she doesn't speak. He calls her Sarah, and he makes love to her. And that is contentious for a lot of people. It's not really contentious for me, because the type of guy that Derek is, he doesn't want to soil Sarah. Like, for all that he says about these, you know, higher up ladies, these women, he's never met a woman like Sarah who walks the walk and talks the talk and doesn't have a hidden agenda. She's so upfront about everything. And so his desire for her, he can't just take what he wants from her. So he does everything that he can in his crude way, yes, but he does everything that he can to save her from him, including sating his desire in a lookalike. And, you know, for most romance novels, having the hero sleep with someone else when he, number one, has already met the heroine. You usually don't have that at all. And number two, is in love with said heroine and then sleeps with someone else. There's only one Derek Craven, and I understand this. Like, I know the lore of him, and I'm seeing it unravel in front of me, because the kind of man that he is, who sees himself as dirty and unclean, he would never hope to wish for Sarah. So that happens. Tabitha comes and tells Sarah this, and it just fucks with her head. So she runs to Perry and she tries to get Perry to have sex with her, because she's like, this is just misplaced desire. He stirs up these feelings in me. I can get this from Perry. Like, I can get this from the man I love. I don't have to get this from Derek Craven. But then Perry slut shames her and refuses to sleep with her. And they break up their engagement. So the point that I'm at right now, Lily has invited both Derek and Sarah to a weekend at their house, and they have just run into each other, and he has said, like, I will save you from me no matter what I do. And Sarah's just like, take me. Like, I don't want to be saved from you. And oh, there's so much angst. There's so much angst. So I think my last check-in will be when I finish it. I'm gonna have my food, and then I'm going to get it done. And it's only noon, and that's fabulous. So I'll check back in soon. So I just finished, and I understand why people lose their shit over this book. Oh my god. Oh my god, I cried twice. And the first time I cried, I like wasn't expecting it, because the first time I cried was during the scene where it's right after Sarah is almost assaulted because fucking Joyce set it up. So Sarah is compromised, and then Lily goes to see Derek, and she's like, okay, she's ruined now. It doesn't matter whether he actually assaulted her or not. She's ruined, so we need to find her a husband. So Derek makes a list of these eligible bachelors, and he says, pick a name. All these men owe me favors, and I'll get you a husband. And it's kind of amazing, because we know that Sarah wants to marry him. Like, she's told him that she wants him, that she loves him, and he just doesn't think that he's worthy. And oh, the pining angst of this book. And so he goes through all these reasons. He like explains all these things, and he's getting more and more desperate. And then he finally is like, Sarah, will you marry me? And right away, I just love it. I do. I love it, because she's just like, are you sure? You can't take it back. And he's like, marry me. And she says yes. Oh, and we got so much more time with them together than I was expecting. Like, I don't know. I thought this was going to be one where it's like marriage and then like epilogue right away. And I'm so glad that there's that like 60 pages of them being married and them both coming to understand each other, and him coming to realize that the things he feels is love, and that he can love her and be loved by her. And it's so good. I'll have more thoughts when I wrap this up, but I just need to breathe and like cry a little bit more. Like, I think I'm gonna cry a little bit more. Fuck Lisa Kleypas. She does this to me, guys. She makes me cry. I cried in almost every one of the Hathaway books. And a couple of the Wallflowers. God, so good. It's so good. I honestly don't know yet if he's my favorite Kleypas hero. Because I don't know if he would be my favorite just because I've heard everybody call him their favorite or not. But I really like him. I like him a lot. I just have to think on it to see if he supplants Cam for me, because I really love Cam. Like, Cam has been my man before this. So I would have to think about it. But it was bananas good, guys. Like, if you haven't read this book yet, if you're putting it off because you've heard such great things and you're afraid it won't live up to the hype, like, it does, and it is. It's so progressive for the time that it came out. Like, it's that darker kind of historical that has stuff to say. And I loved it. I loved it. So I'll do a wrap up and, like, talk through all my thoughts as the final clip to this. I realized that I filmed enough of this that this can just be a reading vlog for Dreaming of You. Also because I was planning on reading a few more historical romances this weekend, but I'm not going to because I just got the e-arc for gifting me to his best friend, as well as I am in the middle of 2 other books that I really want to read instead. So I'm going to wrap this up and put up this reading vlog for you guys because I'm just, wow. It was good. It was so good. All right, guys. I'm hopping in to wrap up this beauty. Oh God, it was so good. It was everything that people say about it and more. I understand why people love Derek so much. As soon as he starts to let himself sink into his love for her, it's so beautiful to watch. That's one of my favorite things about heroes. I love how, like, she's still so nervous about him, but after she says yes to him, when she's like, you can't back out, and he's like, I won't, he continues to say, like, please don't leave me. And I love that. I love that angst and just beauty in a guy when they're just like, please don't leave me, that he's willing to be vulnerable like that. This man who's had so many people leave him consistently over and over again. And I just think it's so amazing. And I think he's so sexy and just wonderful. And there's so many things about him too. So Derek, he prostituted himself when he was younger. Like, his club, the money he made it off of sleeping with rich women, getting favors from them. And then when he needed to, he would blackmail those people back. And, like, they're okay with it. Most of the people are, like, still people who come to his club. They, like, respect him. Not all of them do, but a lot of the people, like, still come to his club and are like, that Derek Craven, he's not horrible. We see a lot of the examples of people not, but there is a general consensus that, they tolerate him unless he has opinions. Like, that's when we see people not care about him, is when he has opinions. Heaven forbid he should have opinions. But holy crap, I love Derek. I love him. I understand. I can't fully, like, get it out of me right now how much that I like him. There were so many good quotes that I was marking down. And yeah, and this ends. So this is the one, like, if you watch Fated Mates or you've, like, heard this said before, the epilogue of this is set, like, after they're happy and they've had their baby. Her name is Lydia. And it's their first time having sex after her having the baby. And he suckles from her breast. And it's really hot. It's really hot. It's so good. I loved it so much. I don't know what else to say. I wanted to wrap this up more articulately, but it's so good. I think I'm going to make a recommendations list soon that is dark historical romances, because I've read quite a few lately and I'm loving them. Like, I'm loving them. I'm usually really into historical rom-coms, like Tessa Dare, the lighter Lisa Kleypas, like Julia Quinn. That's been my sweet spot for years, but I'm really loving these more angsty older ones. Like I am. And I never knew that like the sex was still so good. Like the sex in this book is great. The sex in Lord of Scoundrels, it's great. And it's so cool to know that, because I felt that only like newer books did that. But that's stupid, because it was hot. This book was hot. He knows things. This guy knows things. So you should read this book. If you've been holding off on it, and also if you've watched all the way through this and saw my spoilers about it, I've done the same thing. I'm not angry at you. You should read this for yourself, because I have listened to 3 separate romance podcasts that talk about this book. I've watched reviews for it. I've read reviews for it. There's still something about it when you read it yourself and you understand what everyone's talking about. Because, and Sarah too. Sarah's amazing. She wears glasses. He calls her Mousy. He calls her a mouse. He sees her as Mousy until that va-va-voom scene that she does. I love it. So, also I think this is a stupid cover for this book. Like there's no setback. And the new copy of it, the one with her in the red dress, she never wears a red dress. She wears blue dresses. Because I was looking for the red dress. I never saw one. And I need to find a copy of this with a setback. I don't know if there's one. I need a hardcover of this book. I just got this from Thrift Books, and so I got a pretty broken up copy. I need a better one, and I'm going to mark the crap out of it. So anyway, thank you so much for sticking through this vlog. I'd love to hear what you love best. Tell me your favorite scene with Sarah and Derek. Tell me like your favorite thing that Derek says. And I love this. I love reading books where they're not dukes. I really like that. Because also we have that, I think, with... like, I like sometimes when a guy isn't a duke. It can be fun. So, anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I put up 3 to 4 videos a week, and you can watch some more of them right now. Bye.